What's up, guys? All right, I wanted to talk a little bit about this thing called cognitive distortions. And what cognitive distortions are, they're these mental, it's almost like mental traps we get into. It's a pattern of thinking that tends to be negative and negatively impacts our lives, okay? And I may do a whole series on these and kind of talk about them one by one. They're little things, and when you start to explain them, you'll say, oh yeah, I understand what you're saying, and you'll be able to, like, everybody knows somebody who does one or two of these things, like, to the extreme, right? And so, like, jumping to conclusions would be one, predicting the future, automatically thinking things aren't going to work out, and it's not just like having a negative attitude. That's not the only thing. It's just lots of different things, like believing when something doesn't go your way, saying, well, getting depressed because life isn't fair, which implies that you think life should be fair, which implies that you think things should kind of always work out for you because you try to do the right thing, etc. Okay, and these patterns of thinking tend to lead to depression and anxiety, and that's one of the foundations of a psychological treatment called cognitive behavioral therapy. We try to identify some of these negative thinking patterns and then help the patient to identify them and do something we would call like a cognitive reframing. So you reframe the way you look at the situation and the way you think about the situation, okay? This takes work. I'm just going to give you this kind of example. I know this guy, so like, let's say you were trying to get a raise at work or maybe a promotion, right? So there are obviously things you can do to help your chances. Like showing up to work on time, working hard, maybe working harder than everybody else, maybe showing up earlier than everybody and leaving later, maybe getting like extra education, like getting a college degree or a master's degree, or going to some continuing ed classes, getting some certifications that other people don't have, getting extra training so that you're a little bit smarter or a little bit better or a little bit more knowledgeable about certain things than other people. Maybe it's not just in one way. Maybe you diversify so that, yeah, you're a really good mechanic, but you're also, really good at accounting, which puts you at another level. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you diversify your skills, and so that's going to help you, get the promotion or get the raise or whatever it is, the other job. Maybe you're looking at changing jobs. There are things you can do to help. And obviously there are things you can do to hurt yourself. Like if you're always late, if you just some days don't show up, maybe you call 15 minutes after the fact, or maybe, ad nauseum, you know what these are. These things that are going to put you a little bit behind the curve, and you're just not exactly pulling your weight, or at least not as much as someone down the street. Or maybe you think, well, I'm at least doing, what the person next to my cubicle's doing, so you don't really ever put yourself in a better position than them, right? So you can kind of see things you can do to help you get the raise or promotion or the other job, and things you can do that can hurt your chances. But the truth is, in the end, whether or not you get the raise, the promotion, etc., is completely out of your control, because you don't get to decide. It's in someone else's, control. Someone else makes that decision. And so what happens is, when something happens, you don't get what you think you deserve, you put yourself in this negative framework because you feel entitled to that. But you can't change it, and you can't control it, and you feel helpless, and you get anxious, you get depressed, you get upset. I know this guy, and he recently applied for a job, and he was by far the most qualified. He had more years at the job. He is actually the only person at the job who knows, like he knows more basically than everybody else there, right? It's not, I'm not saying at every little thing he's better than everybody else. No, I'm just saying like general widespread knowledge. He's the guy people go to. In fact, his boss asks him questions sometimes, okay? The guy is like extremely brilliant, and he's got, and he also has like the extra oomph of being like a very hard worker. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know how some of those people just love to be doing something? He's that kind of person. So very smart and loves to be doing things, which is a deadly combination, man, because those people are determined to be successful. And he is already very successful. And there was a job he applied for, more qualified than anybody else who applied, was actually told by several people he was a shoo-in, and he didn't get it. And he didn't get it because people didn't like him or anything. They love him. He didn't get it because it was just a political move, the guy who got the job. That's it. It was just some office politics. And that's how, you know, the cards fall sometimes. And that's just, he did everything he could to set himself up to get that. And it didn't happen, right? But he doesn't go around like depressed. You know, he didn't quit. He didn't go, you know. In fact, he just continues to do his job, which he's got a good job. And he continues to work hard. And he continues to help the people around him. It didn't change who he was. It didn't change his value. You know? And yeah, I mean, it was difficult at the time. And, you know, he was upset. I'm not saying that. It wasn't like he went around happy-go-lucky the whole time after he didn't get it. No, but he knew that it didn't really change who he was. And he was able to continue to push forward and continue to make things better for his life and for the life of his family and the people around him. But if you get caught in these cognitive distortions of like, of just feeling betrayed, or like, you know, feeling like you need to do something about something that you can't control, it's not going to make your life better. It's going to make your life worse. But instead, if you focus on the things that you can control, which is like your work ethic, showing up, doing the work, getting smarter, learning new skills, even if it doesn't pay off like with a raise or promotion, it pays off, okay? Because I'm telling you, the universe is going to give it back to you. It just may not look always the way you expect it to look, or kind of how you wanted the chips to fall or whatever. You know what I mean? So, all right, guys, I ran long enough. We're going to be talking about some cognitive distortions. We're going to be talking about some cognitive reframing. I think this could be helpful to a lot of folks out there. And the thing is, you may not like be one of these people who have these horrible, like, negative reactions where you're like just panic-stricken and depressed all the time. But we all have these negative thought patterns. You know, they just may be small. And so the more we work at identifying them in our lives, the better our lives can be, the better our mindset can be, because, man, we need to be on point so we can help other people. So, all right, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Hope you guys have a great day.